I'm speaking from experience, and I'm saying, as a woman, as I watch what the definition of womanhood has become inside of the Black community, it is a disappointment to me.
They call me a god. 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 Let's go.
I don't know if it's been me, if it's just me. Y'all can let me know if it's just me. But women, Black women specifically, have been acting strange as fuck publicly. And I am going to give you a few examples. I'm not just pulling this out my ass. I'm just speaking after I have observed a lot within the past couple of months. And with time, things have just been kind of strange. Just recently, we was talking about Keke Palmer and how suddenly, you know, she just decided to grind on Usher while she in a relationship with another man, just had a baby, and women like cheering her on. And I'm like, if you in a relationship or you got a husband or something like that, and your husband is trying to lead you, in order for you to be a level of submissive to him, you got to kind of listen to what he's saying. So if he's saying to you, you know, this makes me feel uncomfortable, as his woman, if you love him, why wouldn't you want to do something like that? So anyway, when I say stuff like that, people automatically think that I am like a pick-me who just hates women. And anybody who knows the history of me knows goddamn well that I have had my share of discussing dusties on a regular. So why not have that same energy when I'm talking about toxic femininity? Why does toxic femininity have to be so taboo to speak about as a woman? Okay, I'm a woman. That doesn't mean I support all women. Okay, because not all women good women. And men, hopefully y'all not out here supporting all men simply because they men. It needs to be more men dragging the fuck out of deadbeat baby daddies. It needs to be more men dragging the fuck out of men who aren't financially in a good place. There are men that need to be holding other men accountable for shit, just like women need to be holding other women accountable for shit. Okay, now I'm not a perfect person, so when I do talk about these women that I am going to discuss inside of this live stream, I'm not talking about them from a holier than thou place. You know, I'm speaking from experience, and I'm saying, as a woman, as I watch what the definition of womanhood has become inside of the Black community, it is a disappointment to me. I'm 43 years old. Okay, I fucked up a lot in my 20s. You know, I wasn't the best woman in the world. You know, in my 30s, I wasn't the best woman in my 30s either. You know what I mean? So don't think that I've just suddenly today thought I'm a perfect woman. No, I just don't want women to get offended as I sit here and I talk about this, because y'all get offended. Y'all like to tussle. Tussle in the shit. Y'all get angry anytime someone tries to hold y'all accountable for a whole bunch of fuck shit that seems to be trending and common. And unfortunately for me, I got people that hate me for a lot of different reasons. So maybe it is, fortunately for me, I'm gonna get canceled regardless. So I'm just gonna say what I want to say. So anyway, when we talk about cultural differences and social graces and etiquette, I think that inside of the Black community, women haven't necessarily been taught these things. And when we talk about social graces and etiquette, a lot of times some women who are African American may believe that when we do behave like classy or elegant or whatever that, you know, whatever you define that as, that could possibly be us trying to be like white women. And I thought about this as I wrote my book, Becoming Her, which is a Black femininity guide. I wrote this book keeping in mind that the way that white women define femininity is very different than how Black women naturally behave, right? So I was like, let me do as much research as I can about womanism, about feminism, and then just try to put it in one book and see if I could teach younger girls a little bit more about what being feminine really means. Okay. And so once I started doing that, and then I started seeing, you know, how the younger women around me were kind of acting, it was kind of like, okay, is it because they don't have positive mom figures or positive aunts and older sisters and shit like that? Because I can relate to something like that. Like the women in my family, I can't really connect to as much as I would like to. I think it's like a handful of them that I could relate to a little bit, but outside of that, I don't feel any connection to the women that I am related to, because I don't see how we are similar. We don't have the same interests. We don't look at life the same. We don't have the same philosophies. So I just never felt connected to them, especially when I started factoring in the kind of personality that these women had. Like a lot of times, what kind of woman they showed me they were. When I saw it in myself as I got older, I was like, this is not a good behavior. I need to try to apply to my life as I'm an adult. So I had to cut out a lot of, you know, lessons I learned from my female relatives to become the type of woman that I am now. And this is an accountability live stream, so I'm not blaming them for the mistakes that I made or the negative behaviors that I had, because at the end of the day, I still had a choice. I got to choose what type of woman I wanted to be, and to this day, I still get to choose that. So my choice was to discontinue behaving how the women in my family were behaving, because I just didn't feel like it was becoming of a lady or becoming of a woman who had great wealth or great success. And not to say they don't have financial stability or success in their lives or in their marriages or whatever it is that they're doing, but the kind of life that I wanted to have for me, I couldn't adopt their behaviors. I had to create my own little path. And so anyway, what I do want a lot of African American women to understand as well before I get into this is that as an African American woman, what we get away with here inside of this country, we are not going to get away with it in other countries. Okay. It's not going to fly in other countries. I think a lot of Western women or American women don't necessarily understand how many privileges that we have. And that's what we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about. Because I think when you grow up in an environment like this, you could kind of take your freedoms for granted. And I know that a lot of men blame feminism for everything, and women being able to do what they want to do is like this negative thing, but it's not if we decide to have a positive attitude while we're getting the freedoms that we have. But what I've noticed is with the freedoms that we get as women, we tend to have this egotistical negative attitude on top of it that's disgusting. Okay. And I'm not afraid to say that at all. I did post a video a couple of days ago about how difficult it is for me as a woman to connect with other women, how women have been extremely hard on me throughout my whole life, whether I was supporting them or not. I think the only time I get like massive support or I become the girl's girl on social media is when I'm dragging some men. Okay. And I feel like it's more to life than me sitting here talking about Dusties 24/7. You know, fuck them Dusties. You know what I'm talking about? Like, we have been talking about Dusties long enough to now we should be able to spot a Dusty versus a good man from a mile away. We've had enough female content creators and teachers and femininity coaches and whoever the fuck else have sat here and talked to y'all about Dusties enough for y'all to be able to spot one. So I shouldn't have to keep talking about this shit over and over and over again on my podcast and on my channel. Okay. That's why I have refrained from doing that as much. And I want to focus more on the behaviors and the thought patterns and what women are doing. Okay. Because we do shit that's messed up. And a lot of women are scared to talk about stuff like this, but like I said, I'm already canceled, so I'm gonna say what the fuck I want to say anyway. So anyway, so like I said, when we go to other countries, we can't necessarily do the things that we, would do in America. And this is the first thing out of many I'm about to talk about, but this right here caught my attention. I know y'all seen this.
And even we be eating this ass today in London. Period, baby. I'm trying to get this coochie scratch. Okay. I'm trying to get my coochie scratch. I'm trying to get my coochie scratch and eating this ass, eating this we be eating this ass today in London. Period, baby. I'm trying to get this.
Now, if you don't know who that is, which you should know who that is, but if you don't know, sorry, hold up, I ain't got my mouse. I was fucking right there. Anyway, that is rap artist Suki Hana, and she sparked outrage after she was foul mouthing it in front of the Buckingham Palace while on the trip to the UK. That's who that was. That was Suki Hana talking about how she was going to eat a nigga ass and she wanted her coochie scratched, screaming this shit in front of Buckingham Palace. In front of King Charles' house. When, like, why is that okay to her?